Hey guys, I just got back from Kenya. I spent 1 week there and visited two national parks, Tsavo National Park and Maasai Mara National Park. The end of August is the time of great migrations, so we managed to see a lot of animals. We did game drives pretty much every single day, and I want to tell you everything about our trip. And by the way, my name is Paulina if this is your first time visiting my channel, and maybe my video will inspire you to visit Kenya sometime soon as well. Also, in this video, I will tell you about a dangerous encounter with a wild animal. And if you plan on going on a safari, I really suggest you listen to this because you really have to take a lot of precaution when you're going out into the wild. I think we are kind of lucky to be alive after this encounter. So, in terms of getting to Kenya, it was actually super convenient. There's a direct flight from New York to Nairobi. It takes 14 to 15 hours to get there, but I still think it's very much worth it because you don't have to stop anywhere for flight connections. When I landed in Nairobi, I reunited with my family and they had just finished hiking Mount Kilimanjaro. This was actually my dream and I really want to do it one day, but I couldn't join them this summer because of my torn ligaments in my ankle. So from Nairobi, we took a flight to Tsavo National Park. We could have driven as well, but it would have taken us like 5 hours or more. And the flight only took like an hour. So it was definitely a good strategy to save time. And also in Kenya, I encountered so many female pilots, and I think that is absolutely incredible. The first half of our trip was actually my favorite. We stayed in this beautiful, magical place, this kind of like tent camp called Finch Hattons. And it's just located in the middle of the wilderness. There is nothing else around, and the camp itself is not fenced, which means that all of the wild animals can freely roam through the camp. I love this place so much. It just felt very authentic, very special. And even though we were in the heart of the wilderness, this camp felt like a little oasis in the middle of nowhere, and it provided all of the comfortable amenities and the cozy atmosphere in addition to this proximity to the untamed nature. The rest of my group really loved the second hotel we stayed in more, but this was definitely my favorite. I loved the interior design, I loved the outdoor open spaces, I loved our tents, but because the camp was not fenced off, we still had to be escorted to and from our tents after sunset and before the sunrise. We did not want to risk a chance encounter with a leopard or with a lion, in the middle of the night. Some of my favorite activities in the camp were to sit on the balcony in the early mornings, and I would request a cup of coffee to be brought to the tent, and I would just be sitting out there and journaling, sipping my coffee, or maybe even drawing, and I could see all of these wild animals passing by my tent. And another activity that I really loved was to be taking a shower underneath the stars because our tents had an outdoor shower. So it was just so special to go outside and to be bathing underneath the moonlight and the stars. It just felt so special to be under the African sky, after being in New York. And during the night, our tent was exposed to the wild because we just had the mosquito nets as the barrier between the inside and the outside. So we could hear all of the wild sounds and wild noises that different animals were producing throughout the night. So I really enjoyed that part as well. It felt very raw and natural and very cool. So during our game drives at Finch Hattons, we encountered a lot of animals. We encountered giraffes, elephants, hyenas, lions, bush babies, buffaloes, all the different types of antelopes, monkeys, and of course hippos, which are considered one of the most dangerous animals to encounter in the wild. The sunsets over the savannah were just absolutely spectacular and magical. I would relive those moments anytime. And we still had some adventures, like the first night our car got stuck literally 20 feet away from resting lions, and the sun was setting, so we were just in the dark, and our guides were trying to remove this giant lava rock from underneath the car. So we were hanging in there for 30 minutes. And we were kind of worried about the proximity to the lions. We also went hiking with the rangers and the views were again amazing. We hiked the local volcano and it was early in the morning and it was just unbelievable. I think Savannah is so, so beautiful. Another thing we did, we visited the Maasai village. And then we also participated in our own Maasai Olympics. We were like playing some fun games that the hotel organized for us. And we just drove around a lot in our open Jeep. And it was just really cool, you know? It felt almost like a virtual reality projection because everything was just so magnificent, so stunning, and so like real. And again, like after an urban environment, it just feels like so foreign, but in a beautiful way, I guess. So after spending 3 days in Tsavo West and doing all of the game drives and looking at the formidable Mount Kilimanjaro just across the border in Tanzania, we took a flight to Masai Mara. It was like an 1.5 hour long flight, and we landed in the local airport called Kikorok, I think. And from there, we got picked up and got driven into our next hotel. In Masai Mara, we stayed at the brand new Ritz-Carlton hotel. And yes, it was absolutely beautiful, and the service was really high quality, and all of the spaces were just absolutely amazing. Very detailed interior design, very sophisticated, very luxurious, like a beautiful, beautiful place. But at the same time, I loved Finch Hattons more just because the Ritz-Carlton felt like it could have been in Tulum or Bali. Like it wasn't as authentic or as specific to the region, in my opinion. It was more general kind of like interior design and architecture. And even the ambience, like, I don't know, playing house music or rap music, just felt like it was not as local and like grounded in, you know, local culture. In the hotel, there was a system of like elevated pathways, which made roaming around the hotel much, much safer. We did not need an escort to go back to our rooms. So that was maybe an upside of this hotel versus the previous hotel. And sometimes right below these pathways on the ground, you could spot a hippo, you know, trying to graze in the middle of the night. So you could still see like wild animals. And plus the hotel was right across from the border with Tanzania. We were literally like, I don't know, 40 feet away from the border. So we spent a total of 2 nights there, and the amenities were amazing. The restaurant, the spa, the gym, our rooms, everything was just very, very high quality. But let's get to our safari stories from Masai Mara. I think we survived an extremely, extremely unpredictable and dangerous encounter in this national park. And let my story be a cautionary tale, because really, when you go out into the wild, anything can happen. What happened to us is that we approached a herd of elephants, around maybe like 30 or so. And there were also a lot of babies in the herd as well. And because the elephants were blocking the road, we kept trying to get closer and closer in our Jeep to pretty much encourage the elephants to go away and unblock the road. This ended up in the elephant matriarch feeling threatened by us. And she started glancing at us very suspiciously, and she kept like turning around, and at that point she wasn't even moving anymore. But we kept pressing, and I don't think this was a wise decision made by our guide, because ultimately it endangered all of us. At some point, when this elephant matriarch with giant tusks, when she's had enough, she decided to charge at our car. So this resulted in probably a 1/2 mile chase where we were driving in reverse away from her, and she was chasing us, charging at us full speed. And I don't think I was ever this terrified in my entire life. There were no other people in sight. This was a herd of 30 elephants, and other elephants were seen, you know, running towards us as well behind the main elephant. And I think we were extremely lucky that we were able to get away. I had such a high adrenaline rush during this incident that, of course, I didn't film anything, but a friend in the group managed to get a little fragment of this chase. And even when I rewatch this now, I feel the hair stand up, you know, on my body. Unfortunately, there were incidents in the past where elephants managed to kill people or to overturn vehicles or trample on vehicles. So it is actually an extremely dangerous situation, because elephants are extremely powerful. And if they feel threatened, if they feel cornered, and especially if they have babies in the herd, then you're left to your own devices. You just really, really have to be cautious. So that was the craziest experience on this trip. And when we got back to the hotel, I actually spoke to the hotel manager about this incident because I felt that the Maasai guide endangered all of us, and I felt like it was very incompetent because even we, like the people who have no experience with animals, even we could tell that this elephant matriarch was not feeling comfortable with our presence. And we knew that we were entering dangerous ground by imposing on this herd. And besides this incident, we did see some very cool scenes from the wild. Like we drove into the Mara Triangle and we saw such a multitude of antelopes and zebras all migrating somewhere. And we also saw cheetahs consuming their prey, and then lions sneaking up on cheetahs and pretty much scaring the cheetahs away and taking over their prey. So that was super cool to see, and that was actually the same day as the elephant incident. After that game drive, I felt partially traumatized and partially inspired. So on the last morning in Kenya, we flew from Maasai Mara to Nairobi, and then we had a full day there. But honestly, we actually didn't do anything. We just got to Nairobi and then we drove to our hotel, and the hotel had a lot of security because there's a lot of like security threats in Kenya. So we got into the hotel and then we just spent the whole day there. And in the evening, I already had my flight to New York. We stayed at JW Marriott, which is a very, very nice hotel, felt very new, and I can definitely highly recommend it if you're gonna be in Nairobi. So that's it, guys. I highly, highly recommend going to Kenya. I feel like when you go there, you just feel so much magic of life and you feel so in touch with yourself and with the universe. And you just feel very, very alive. I think it's just such a beautiful feeling of resetting your senses, resetting your emotions, and just changing your scenery. Let me know if you ever traveled to Kenya and what you thought of your experience there. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.